your freedom fact number 7, the greatest danger is actually being out of the market.
Now, this is totally counterintuitive, right? Because everybody says, look, the ideal would be you get in at the right time and go up, and then you get out before it goes down. But no one's ever been able to predict that of the best of the world. But here's the fact that'll blow your mind. J.P. Morgan did a study, and Schwab both independently did studies over 20-year periods of time. So 1996 to 2015, and they found that on average, if you were in the S&P 500, you had an 8.2% return, which compounding it over time is extraordinary for people. It helps you get to that wealth. But in those 20 years, if you just missed the 10 best trading days, 10 days out of 20 years, and your return would be 4.5%. It would literally almost be cut in half just by missing those 10 days. How are you going to know in 20 years which of those 10 days are? Give me other statistics of what happens with 20 days.
I think one of the big misperceptions is, okay, if the market's at 10,000, like it was a few years ago, and I wait, well, what are there only 3 things that can happen if I'm in cash? One is the market goes down. I feel great. But am I going to go in at 9,000? Do I really feel great about the market at 9,000 if I didn't feel good at 10? I still have not met that investor in my long career. Second, it goes sideways. I lose. Dividends are better than being in cash or a CD. Third, it goes up. Now, the problem with it going up is it might not come back to 10,000. It might do exactly what it did. Go to 11, 12, 13, 15, 19, 9, You've lost your opportunity. Now, if I go in, there's 3 things that can happen. It goes up. I'm high-fiving everyone around me. It can go sideways. I'm better than cash. It can go down. Big deal. I can buy more, or I wait it out. That's the worst thing in the world that happens is I wait it out. So being out, it's like Tony said, it's counterintuitive. Being out is what results in permanent loss. Being in, the worst outcome that can happen, and it's still a low probability event, is temporary loss of capital.
So, Peter, isn't it also true that those advisors who are not fiduciaries, who are brokers, they will make money whether they're encouraging you to buy or sell? So they actually have a disincentive to advise you, hey, don't do anything, stay the course, you're going to be fine.
I think it's when you're in the brokerage world, you just don't know how anyone's being compensated. And if they disclose it to you, usually there will be conflict. Sometimes they get paid commissions, so there's an incentive for activity. Sometimes they get paid a fee, but only if you're in certain asset classes. So there's an incentive for you to be in those asset classes. Sometimes they get paid different fees in different asset classes, so there's an incentive for you to take risks you might not want to take.
And those incentives have nothing to do with your best interest. It's just the incentives of what makes the most money for the corporation.
They might have their own bond desk. They might have their own mutual funds. They might have their own hedge funds. So I think the key is you want to have an advisor. You pay a fee, and that fee is the same on all of the investment advice all of the time. And if you can get yourself to that, which, like Tony said at the top of this, that's extremely rare, unfortunately, in this profession. But if you can find somebody whose investment fee is the same, no matter what they do, no matter what they recommend, that's the best case scenario in terms of at least having an alignment before we even get to the next steps with the advisor.
And I want you to know, I give the 10 days, but let me give them the second statistic that they found. In those 20 years, if you're out of the market 20 days, the 20 best days, your 8.2 drops to 2.1. You might as well have your money in a treasury or something of that nature, right? And if you miss the top 30 days, in 20 years, you lost money. And so how are you ever going to time that? And then the best fact that we found was extraordinary, and this was done by J.P. Morgan. They found that 6 of the 10 biggest trading days, upsides, were within 2 weeks of the 10 worst trading days. Yeah. So it's like when people's guts are being ripped open, that's when the greatest explosion of opportunity happens.